Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of Jig Retro, where we're going to take a look at some fantastic modern-ish co-op games that are enjoyable and accessible even to non-gamers. If you're a video gaming nut that wants to share your passion with either your significant other, maybe a child or a really close friend, then I guarantee that you will get them into it with one of these titles at least. If you enjoy this content, then please take a moment out of your time to like, share and subscribe, as well as check out my other videos. I would really appreciate that very much. I'd say that since the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 era, then sofa or local multiplayer has reduced significantly in gaming, to the point where in the first half of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 existence, I thought it was gone forever. Online gaming has become absolutely dominant, and it's actually one of the things that led me to retro gaming as I pushed against that trend. Thank goodness we've seen a bit of a resurgence recently. I feel that this is somewhat to do with the huge creativity that we've seen from indie developers creating indie games, and the success of the Nintendo Switch, which from day one has pushed and strived for local multiplayer. Larger and even AAA video game companies are hearing the call from consumers, and here are 4 amazing co-op experiences that I would say would even be good enough to turn non-gamers into gaming. For the past few years, I've introduced these games to my wife and we've played the absolute hell out of them, most of them to completion. It's been so good to get my wife somewhat into my super geeky hobby. She's even suggested a few times that we turn the console off herself to play these future classics. Overcooked 1 or 2, or both, as it's now available in an all-you-can-eat pack. Developed by Ghost Town Games, which is a 3-person, BAFTA-winning UK-based indie game studio. They have achieved something really special here. This game is fun and really accessible in the early stages, and for a little while you will really enjoy it as a couple. It also could lead to some pretty big arguments. It's like you have to shout at each other, or as I like to call it, give and receive concise instruction to see the latter stages of this game. It demands that you find the perfect balance of tasks between you in order to maximise productivity in the kitchen. Don't let the cutesy graphics fool you, this game can be tough. Me and Steph absolutely love playing this game, but frankly when it starts getting really hard, then we just start another save file. Maybe it is best with 3 or even 4 players. Fetching, chopping, frying, boiling, plating up, serving, washing up, even putting out fires. It's all here and it can be carnage, but also so much fun nevertheless. Definitely get any of these games on your wish list and wait till it gets on sale to pick it up. As far as I can tell, it's on sale pretty regularly. Unravel 2, developed by Coldwood Interactive, based in northern Sweden. This was one of the first co-op games of this type that me and Steph got into playing. I think I picked it up pretty early into owning my Nintendo Switch on an eShop sale, and it leans into the Switch's strengths. The realistic environments and backgrounds look stunning. The real-life, emotional, if vague story that plays out on your journey keeps you interested, and the 2 cute woolly characters bring the package together with a game for anyone. The game centres around the gameplay of platforming and co-op puzzle solving, which mostly involve using the wool in a variety of ways. This game doesn't outstay its welcome, with 5 hours being roughly the time it will take to beat it. A Way Out, developed by Hazelight Studios and directed by film director Joseph Fares. So this was actually the game that me and Steph have played most recently. I was really intrigued. This one takes a lot more serious and realistic tone than the other games in this episode, but I somehow managed to sell it to my wife due to the link to the next game, which we absolutely adored, and I said that it was kind of like Prison Break. This game is heavily story driven with a lot of time spent with the controller down, but the interactive parts are really well done. The entire prison section is fantastic with standout moments. I would say that the fun factor comes slightly unglued with the more gunplay elements that come into the game. To say that it's a much less refined, Uncharted style of gunplay is a pretty fair statement, I think. Some of the action set pieces are absolutely stunning and lead seamlessly into impressive action cinematics. A fantastic, if not slightly predictable story, but the ending plays out so well that even if you kind of know what's coming, then it doesn't hurt it overall. There are so many little side things to interact with in this game. At one point, me and Steph found ourselves as two grown adult badass characters enjoying a seesaw minigame that was all about timing in a playground. We only found a couple of sections a bit tricky, and discovering each other's role in order to proceed is the main crux of this game. The game took us around 6.5 hours to complete. It Takes Two was developed and directed by the same team as A Way Out, but I feel that this is a much more refined game. I think that this is the best game of this sort and an absolute must play, and it doubles down on everything we have seen so far from the previous two games mentioned. I would say that if there is one must-play game on this list, then this is it. Seemingly endless mini-games to the point where sometimes you get lost out of the main story. This game is super imaginative and I can't really describe it to you to do it justice. From being stuck in your own backyard, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style, to slipping and sliding around the inside of a snow globe. I can't even begin to tell you about the huge scope and imagination of the mini-games that makes up the whole of this game. Each level gives the two protagonists unique abilities which you have to learn to use and work as a pair in order to progress. This usually ends up in you perfecting these abilities in order to beat a boss. The art direction and imagination in this beautiful game looks like it could easily come out of the Disney Studios feature film work. 13.5 hours is the length of this game, but I would highly recommend that you take your time and embrace the fantastic mini games, because this game is just so good that it will fly by. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that it brings you, your significant other, your child or your friend closer together into this wonderful world of video gaming. Please let me know if you have any suggestions for video games that me and my wife can play next, or any thoughts and opinions on the games that are listed. Until next time, much love, please look after yourselves and each other and get your geek on with Jig Retro.